Rain poured over the city, turning the streets into shining mirrors of light. Inside the National History Museum, the night was quiet. Too quiet. A single flashlight beam moved across the dark halls, bouncing off glass displays and ancient stone statues. Dr. Liam Cross, a young archaeologist with tired eyes and a determined heart, stepped through the main door. The alarms had stopped 15 minutes ago, but the silence that followed felt even louder. He looked around, his breath fogging in the cold air, and whispered, "This doesn't feel right." The museum guards were gone, their radios lying abandoned on the floor. Broken glass sparkled beneath Liam's boots as he entered the ancient relics wing. At the center of the room stood a shattered display case. The Emerald Heart, the most valuable artifact in the entire collection, was missing. Liam's pulse quickened because he knew that relic better than anyone. He was the one who had found it 2 years ago. Buried beneath a forgotten temple in the Sahara Desert, he had promised himself that the artifact would never fall into the wrong hands, and now it was gone. He crouched near the display and noticed a faint symbol burned into the marble floor. A spiral with 3 dots. His eyes widened. "That's impossible," he whispered. It was the same mark used by the secret group of treasure hunters known as the Eclipse Circle. They were rumored to steal powerful objects and sell them to the highest bidder. Liam thought they were only a legend, a story told by explorers to scare students. But tonight the legend had come alive. Suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, expecting a call from security, but it wasn't a number he recognized. The message read, "Find the heart before sunrise or lose everything." He froze. His mind raced through questions. Who sent this? How did they know about the heart? And what did they mean by lose everything? He looked at the message again and noticed something small at the bottom. Coordinates. The location was across town, near the old docks. Before he could think, another sound echoed through the hall. Footsteps, slow, steady, and close. Liam turned off his flashlight and hid behind a large statue of a pharaoh. A shadow moved across the corridor, tall, confident, and wearing a hood. The figure stopped in front of the empty case and whispered, "Too late, Liam." His heart dropped. That voice, it was familiar, but before he could see the face, the intruder vanished into the darkness. The lights flickered back to life as security officers finally stormed in. Liam stepped out, trying to explain, but their leader, Captain Reeves, cut him off. "You shouldn't be here, Dr. Cross. This is a crime scene," Reeves said firmly. "I found the display broken," Liam replied. "The Emerald Heart is gone," Reeves frowned. "We already know that, and until we get surveillance footage." "You're our only witness." Liam's stomach tightened. He didn't trust Reeves, and Reeves didn't trust him. As they spoke, the museum's chief curator entered. It was Dr. Morgan, Liam's old mentor, a man who once taught him everything about ancient relics. Morgan's gray hair glistened in the dim light, and his sharp eyes scanned the room. "Liam," he said softly, "you shouldn't have come." "I had to," Liam replied. "I found something strange, a symbol, a message, and someone who—" Morgan raised a hand. "Stop, listen to me carefully," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "There are forces you don't understand. Walk away from this before it's too late." Liam couldn't believe what he was hearing. His mentor, the man who once said truth must always be uncovered, was now telling him to quit. "Morgan, someone stole the Emerald Heart," Liam said. "I can't just walk away." Morgan's eyes hardened. "Then you might not survive the night." He turned and left before Liam could respond, leaving him alone with more questions than answers. Liam looked back at the shattered display. He remembered the legends about the Emerald Heart. It was said to contain an ancient energy. Some believed it was a key to eternal life. Others said it was a weapon. But Liam knew the truth, or at least part of it. The artifact reacted to human emotion. It glowed brightest when near fear. Hope or love, it was powerful but dangerous. And now it was in the hands of a thief. His phone buzzed again, another message. This time, only 2 words appeared. "Choose now." He stared at the screen, and 2 options appeared like a cruel game. Option 1, tell the police everything, follow protocol, stay safe. Option 2, go to the coordinates, confront the thief, and take back the artifact before dawn. Liam exhaled deeply. He could almost hear Morgan's voice warning him to stay out of it. But another memory pushed through, a memory of the dig site. When Clara, his ex-partner, had held the artifact for the first time. Her eyes had glowed faintly green, Just like the gem itself, she had whispered. This thing isn't just history, it's alive. Could Clara be involved? Could she be the thief? Outside, thunder rolled across the city. Liam looked toward the museum doors where the rain fell heavier now. He wiped dust off his jacket and took a step forward. His reflection flickered in the glass case beside him, half light, half shadow. He knew that whichever path he chose tonight would change everything. The safe plan meant trusting the system, but the risky confrontation meant trusting his instincts. And deep down, he knew which one he would take. Liam turned his phone off, slipped it into his pocket and whispered, "Let's find the truth." As he stepped out into the storm, lightning flashed behind him. In that brief flash, the museum's security camera caught one last image, a green shimmer glowing faintly in Liam's bag. The artifact wasn't gone after all. It had chosen him. The rain had not stopped since midnight. It fell like endless whispers over the rooftops, washing away the city's noise. Liam Cross stood under a flickering streetlight near the old docks, his coat dripping wet. The coordinates from the strange message had led him here. To a place forgotten by most people. Rusty cargo containers surrounded him. The smell of salt and oil filled the air. In the distance, waves crashed against the wooden piers like quiet thunder. Liam pulled out his phone again, but there were no new messages. The screen glowed with the same words from before. Find the heart before sunrise or lose everything. He had no idea what lose everything truly meant, but his gut told him it was serious. His fingers tightened around the small velvet pouch in his pocket. Inside it, hidden carefully, was a shard of the emerald heart he had discovered after the break-in. It pulsed faintly, glowing green every few seconds, as if it were alive. He heard footsteps echoing across the wet concrete. Liam ducked behind a container, heart pounding through the mist. A figure appeared, cloaked and moving fast. He recognized the shape of her stride instantly. Clara, his ex-partner, his best friend once, and the one who had disappeared 2 years ago without a word. The sight of her made his chest tighten with confusion and anger. "Clara," he whispered, stepping out of hiding. She stopped, spinning toward him. Eyes wide, for a moment silence hung between them, broken only by the sound of rain hitting metal. "Liam," she breathed, her voice soft but edged with guilt. "You shouldn't be here." "I could say the same," Liam replied. "You stole the artifact." Clara looked away. "It's not what you think," she said quietly. "I had no choice." Liam took a step closer. "You broke into the museum, Clara. People could have been hurt." She shook her head. "You don't understand. There are things you don't know." "The eclipse circle?" he asked sharply. "The mark was on the floor." Her eyes widened. "So they're watching you too," she said. "You were never supposed to find me." "What are you talking about?" he demanded. "The circle isn't just thieves," she whispered. "They're trying to awaken something ancient." Liam frowned, confused. "Awaken? What are you saying?" Clara opened her satchel and pulled out a device that looked like a compass made of glass and gold. Inside it, a small fragment of emerald floated, glowing softly in rhythm with the shard in Liam's pocket. "When the artifact broke, it split into pieces," she explained. "Each piece connects to the others like a pulse. When they come together, they'll reveal what's buried under the earth." "And that's supposed to be a good thing?" Liam asked. "It depends on who uses it," Clara said, looking him straight in the eyes. "If the circle gets all the pieces, they can unleash something that can rewrite life itself." Liam's heart pounded. "And you expect me to believe you?" he said. Clara sighed. "Believe what you want, but the circle already has 3 pieces, and they're coming for mine." Before he could answer, the sound of an engine roared in the distance. A black van turned the corner, headlights slicing through the fog. Clara grabbed Liam's arm. "We have to move. Now." Together they ran down the dock as men in dark coats jumped from the van, shouting orders. Bullets ricocheted off the metal containers as they sprinted toward a narrow alley. They ducked inside a broken warehouse, panting hard. The roof leaked rainwater, and moonlight slipped through the cracks. Clara pressed her back against the wall, clutching the compass. "They're here for the artifact shard you have," she said. "They can sense it." Liam stared at her. "How do you know I have one?" She gave him a sad smile. "Because it chose you." The air around them began to hum softly. The shard in Liam's pocket glowed brighter. Syncing with Clara's compass, the two lights merged into a single, stronger pulse filling the room with green mist. Symbols appeared on the floor, ancient ones. The same language carved on the walls of the temple where Liam first found the artifact. He crouched down, tracing one with his finger. "This one means gateway," he whispered. Clara nodded. "Yes. The heart isn't just power. It's a map, a key to a vault under the sands, a place where the first civilization stored their greatest secret. Before they could speak again, the warehouse door burst open. A tall man stepped in, dressed in black armor and carrying a silver rifle. Liam recognized him from the news. Agent Rourke, a mercenary known for working with secret organizations. "End of the line," Rourke said. "Hand over the relic pieces." Clara raised her hand slowly, eyes darting toward Liam. He could feel the shard vibrating in his pocket, as if urging him to decide. "Think fast, Doctor," Rourke said. Stepping closer, Liam knew he had two options. He could take the safe plan, give the shard to Rourke and walk away alive, or he could take the risky path, trust Clara, and try to escape with her to uncover the truth. Every instinct told him to stay safe, but every heartbeat screamed otherwise. Clara whispered, "If he gets the shard, everything ends." Liam looked at her, rain dripping from her hair, fear in her eyes but also fire. He made his choice with one motion. He grabbed her hand, yanked her behind a fallen beam, and shouted, "Run!" Rourke fired, bullets tearing through the air. They dashed through the back door into the stormy night, the artifact glowing like a heartbeat in his pocket. They didn't stop running until they reached the far edge of the pier. Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the sea. Behind them, the sound of engines grew louder again. Clara turned to Liam, breathless. "We can't keep running forever," she said. "We need to go where it all began, the dig site." Liam nodded slowly. "The Sahara." "Yes," she said. "That's where the vault is, and where the truth waits." He looked out over the dark waves. Rain soaking his face, he had chased shadows tonight. But what he found was something much bigger, a secret buried not just under sand but under time itself. As the green light flickered between them, he knew one thing for sure: there was no going back. The plane roared above the endless desert, cutting through golden clouds of dust. Liam Cross looked out the window, his eyes following the winding lines of ancient dunes below. For a moment, the view almost looked peaceful. But he knew peace was far behind him now. Beside him, Clara sat quietly, her fingers wrapped tightly around the glowing compass. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat, guiding them toward the place where it all began. The Sahara stretched forever, hot and silent. Holding its secrets under the sand, Liam remembered the first time he came here, full of excitement and dreams of discovery. Now he was coming back not as a hero, but as a man hunted. He leaned closer to Clara and asked, "Are you sure the vault is real?" She nodded slowly. "It's real, Liam, and if we don't reach it first, the eclipse circle will." When the plane landed on a rough strip of cracked earth, the heat hit them like fire. They stepped out, the wind carrying whispers of sand across the horizon. In the distance, broken pillars and half-buried ruins poked out of the ground like bones. Clara pointed ahead. "That's where Morgan's last dig site was," she said. "He knew more than he told us." The name made Liam's chest tighten. Dr. Morgan, his mentor, the man who once called him family, now part of the people trying to steal the artifact's power. They hiked for hours through the dunes until they reached a rocky ridge. Below it, a strange symbol was carved into the stone, the same spiral of 3 dots that Liam had seen in the museum. Clara placed the compass against the rock, and the sand around it began to shimmer. With a low rumble, the ground split open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. A warm gust of ancient air rose from below. Carrying the smell of dust and time, Liam whispered, "So it's true," Clara smiled faintly. "Welcome to the vault." They descended slowly, torches flickering against walls covered in carvings. Images of stars, serpents, and strange human-like figures filled the passage. Liam brushed his hand along one of the carvings. "These look older than Egyptian. Older than anything we've found." "They are," Clara said. "The first civilization built this place to hide what they couldn't control." Her words echoed off the stone, blending with the soft hum of the compass. At the bottom of the staircase stood a massive door made of black metal. At its center was an empty circular slot exactly the size of the Emerald Heart. Liam took the small shard from his pocket and held it near the door. The shard began to glow brighter, humming with energy. "Wait," Clara said quickly. "If you open it now, there's no going back." He looked at her. "We didn't come this far to turn around." He pressed the shard into the slot. A blinding green light filled the chamber. The door shifted, ancient gears grinding as it slowly opened. Behind it was a massive room filled with light that didn't come from fire or electricity. Crystals floated in midair, shining with soft energy. And in the center of the chamber stood a stone altar with a pedestal that pulsed like a living heart. Liam stepped forward, his eyes wide. "This isn't a tomb," he whispered. "It's a machine." Clara followed him, her voice barely a whisper. "The legend said the heart was a power source, but this is something more." She placed her compass on the altar, and it instantly fused with the floating crystals. Symbols lit up across the walls, ancient text glowing like stars. Liam tried to read them. "Two paths, one fate," he murmured. "Rebirth or ruin." Clara turned toward him. "That's the warning, Liam. The heart can bring life or destroy it, depending on who commands it." Before they could speak again, a deep voice echoed through the chamber. "Impressive, both of you." Liam spun around, and his heart froze. Dr. Morgan stood at the entrance, surrounded by armed men in black uniforms. He looked older, harder, his eyes cold but gleaming with pride. "Liam," Morgan said calmly, "you always were the curious one." "I knew you'd lead me here, Morgan," Liam said, anger rising in his voice. "You're working with the Eclipse Circle," Morgan smiled. "Working with them," he said. "I founded them." Clara gasped. "You did this?" "Yes," Morgan replied. "The heart was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to awaken humanity's next evolution. And now I'll finish what we started." Liam stepped in front of the altar. "You'll destroy everything if you try to control it." Morgan raised his hand and his soldiers aimed their weapons. "I don't want to destroy the world, Liam," he said. "I want to rebuild it." He gestured toward Clara. "She's unstable. She's been using the artifact's energy without control." Clara shook her head. "He's lying," she shouted. "He wants the power for himself." Liam looked between them. Torn, he remembered Morgan's warning at the museum, and now Clara's confession at the docks. Who could he trust? The air in the chamber vibrated with rising energy. The heart's glow pulsed faster, reacting to their voices. Morgan took a step closer. "Give it to me, Liam. Before she gets everyone killed." Clara reached for Liam's hand. "Don't listen to him. The heart reacts to choice. It listens to you." Liam could feel the power humming through the floor. Every instinct screamed that the next decision would change everything. Two options appeared clearly before him. He could follow the safe plan, surrender the artifact to Morgan and hope to stop the chaos. Or he could take the risky confrontation, stand with Clara and protect the heart from being used as a weapon. He looked at both of them, then at the glowing altar. The humming became a roar, dust falling from the ceiling. Liam took a deep breath, his voice steady. "No more lies." He grabbed the shard from the altar, and the light exploded outward like lightning. The soldiers screamed as the ground trembled beneath them. The vault began to shake. Walls cracking open, Clara reached for him, shouting over the noise. "Liam, we have to run." Morgan's voice echoed. "You can't stop what's begun." As the chamber collapsed, the last thing Liam saw was the heart splitting again into shards of green fire. The world turned white, then silence. When Liam opened his eyes, he was lying half buried in sand under the burning sun. Clara was beside him, unconscious but alive. The vault behind them was gone, swallowed by the desert. He looked at the shard in his hand. It was glowing faintly again, and in the distance a black helicopter rose into the sky. Morgan was still alive, and he had taken something with him. The sun burned high over the endless desert. Waves of heat shimmered over the dunes, making the horizon twist like liquid glass. Liam Cross opened his eyes slowly, his throat dry, his head pounding. He was lying half buried in sand, his clothes torn, and his heart racing for a moment. He couldn't remember where he was or why everything smelled like smoke. Then the memories returned. The vault, the explosion, the light, Morgan, and the heart. He sat up quickly, scanning the desert around him. Clara lay a few feet away, motionless but breathing. He crawled to her side and shook her gently. "Clara, wake up," he said, his voice cracking. Her eyes fluttered open, confused and weak. "Liam," she whispered, "did we make it out?" He looked behind them. Where the sand had swallowed the entrance to the vault, nothing was left except broken stones and a faint green glow fading beneath the surface. "Barely," he replied. "But Morgan's gone." He escaped. Clara struggled to sit up, holding her arm where blood had dried along a shallow cut. She looked toward the sky, where a black helicopter was shrinking into the distance. "He took something from the vault," she said. "I saw him grab a crystal before the cave fell." Liam clenched his fists. "He has part of the heart," Clara nodded, "and he'll use it. He won't stop until he activates the full power." The desert wind howled around them, lifting small whirlwinds of sand. They had no water, no shelter, and no way to contact anyone. Their radio and supplies were lost in the collapse. Liam checked his pocket. The shard of the artifact was still there, glowing softly, even under the scorching sun. It stayed cool, pulsing slowly. It was alive, somehow aware of them. "We need to move," Clara said. "If we stay here, we'll cook alive." Liam helped her stand, and together they began walking toward the nearest ridge. Every step felt heavy, their boots sinking into soft sand. The sun was merciless, burning their skin and blinding their eyes. Hours passed, and their shadows grew shorter. Still, they saw no sign of life, not even a bird or a trace of civilization. By late afternoon, Liam's vision began to blur. His mind drifted between reality and memory. He saw flashes of his first expedition here, the laughter of his team, the excitement when they unearthed the Emerald Heart. Back then it was just discovery, not danger, not death, but now, the same sand that once gave him purpose was trying to bury him alive. Finally, as the sun began to fall, Clara spotted something ahead, an old excavation cabin. Half buried and covered in dust, they stumbled toward it, collapsing inside, gasping for air. The wooden structure creaked under their weight, but it was shelter. Inside, old maps and broken equipment lay scattered across a table. Liam brushed off the sand and noticed something, a map marked with strange red circles. It was the old dig site plan drawn by Dr. Morgan himself, and one mark was labeled Project Elysium. Clara leaned over his shoulder. "Elysium," she said softly. "That's what he called the awakening experiment." Liam frowned. He wasn't just studying the heart, he was trying to activate it. They exchanged a glance of fear and understanding. The artifact wasn't just a power source. It was a key to something that could rewrite the world. As night fell, the wind outside grew colder, and the desert turned silver under the moonlight. Liam sat near the broken window, holding the glowing shard. Its light reflected in his eyes, green and haunting. "What if he's right?" he said quietly. "What if the heart was meant to awaken something greater?" Clara looked at him sharply. "You can't think that way," she said. Morgan lost himself chasing that idea. He sighed. "Maybe, but what if it's not about control? What if it's about balance?" The shard suddenly pulsed brighter, lighting the room in waves of emerald. Clara froze. "Liam, it's reacting to your voice." Before he could respond, the light spilled across the floor, forming moving symbols and lines. They spread like roots, connecting to the old map on the table. The red circles began to glow, forming a pattern. At the center of it was a mark shaped like a star. "That's the hidden city," Clara whispered. "The one beneath the earth." Liam stared at the glowing map. "The city beneath," he murmured. "It's real." Clara nodded. "And that's where Morgan's going." He placed his hand over the mark, and the shard in his palm vibrated like a living heart. "We have to stop him before he reaches it," he said. Clara hesitated. "There's still time to destroy the shard." "Liam, if we end it now, no one can use it again." He looked at her, torn. "And if we're wrong, we might be destroying the only thing that can save us." The choice hung heavy in the air. Outside, the wind howled like distant voices calling from the dunes. Inside, the artifact's glow dimmed and brightened, almost like it was listening. Liam stood and walked to the door. Staring out at the endless desert, he could see faint lights far away, campfires. Or maybe Morgan's men. Clara joined him, her hand resting on her satchel, where she kept the compass piece. "We're running out of time," she said. "Morgan's ahead of us and he's got soldiers," Liam nodded. "Then we'll take a different path." She raised an eyebrow. "The safe one or the risky one?" He smiled faintly. "You already know my answer." As they packed what little they had, a deep rumble echoed under the sand. The floor shook, dust falling from the ceiling. Clara's eyes widened. What was that? Liam grabbed the lantern and stepped outside. The dunes were shifting like waves, the ground alive and breathing. Then he saw it, massive cracks forming across the sand. Glowing with green light, something was stirring beneath the surface. Something ancient and powerful. The heart, Clara whispered. It's waking up. Liam took her hand and ran as the cracks widened behind them. The sand rose in spirals. The wind screaming through the night, the ground exploded, sending a pillar of green light into the sky. For a moment, everything glowed brighter than the moon. Liam looked up, the light reflecting in his eyes, and whispered, "We're too late." The desert was silent again. Only the wind whispered through the dunes where the green light had faded. Liam and Clara stood on a cliffside, staring at the massive crater that had formed overnight. The explosion had torn open the earth like a wound, revealing a staircase of stone leading down into darkness. At the center of it all, faint green light pulsed from below. The heart was calling. Clara held the compass in her hand, the needle spinning wildly. "It's reacting to the light," she said softly. Liam looked down the steps, his eyes narrowing. "That's where Morgan went," he said, his voice low and steady. Clara sighed, brushing sand off her clothes. "Then that's where we're going too." They started their descent carefully, each step echoed faintly, swallowed by the vast emptiness below. The air grew colder, and the walls of the staircase began to change. The sandstone turned to smooth black stone, carved with strange glowing symbols. Liam ran his fingers along the carvings. "They look ancient," he said. "Older than the museum artifacts. Older than anything we've seen." Clara nodded. This city wasn't built by humans. After what felt like hours, they reached the bottom. The tunnel opened into a massive cavern filled with towering pillars and golden bridges. Rivers of glowing green light flowed beneath the platforms. Lighting up the entire space, in the center stood a colossal door, its surface made of pure obsidian. And there, standing before it, was Dr. Morgan. He turned as he heard them approach, a small smile forming on his face. "Ah, Liam," he said calmly. "I knew you couldn't resist." Liam tightened his grip on his backpack. "You stole part of the heart, Morgan. Give it back." Morgan raised his hand, revealing the crystal shard embedded in a metal gauntlet. "It's not stolen," he said. "It's awakened. And soon you'll see what that means." Clara stepped forward. "You're risking everything," she said. "You have no idea what this power can do." Morgan laughed softly. "On the contrary, Clara, I've studied it for years. The heart doesn't destroy. It creates, it connects, it restores balance." Liam frowned. "Balance," he said. "You caused an explosion that nearly killed us all." Morgan's smile faded slightly. "Sometimes destruction is the price of rebirth." He turned to the giant door and pressed the glowing shard against a circular symbol. The symbols around the room lit up instantly. The ground trembled and the massive door began to open, its surface sliding apart like clockwork beyond it. A city of impossible beauty stretched into the distance. Tall crystalline towers shimmered under a green sun. Floating bridges moved like living veins, and strange machines pulsed with energy. It was alive. The city beneath had awakened. Clara's eyes widened. "It's real," she whispered. "It's actually real." Morgan stepped inside, his voice echoing. "Welcome to Elysium, the city of the first architects." Liam followed cautiously, his heart pounding as they entered. The air changed again. It felt charged, almost electric. Every breath carried the hum of ancient machinery. All around them, statues lined the streets, tall, faceless figures holding crystals in their hands. Clara examined one of the statues. "They're not human," she murmured. "Their proportions are too perfect." Liam looked up at the glowing towers. "Maybe they built the heart," he said. Morgan's voice came from ahead. "They didn't build it, Liam. They were it. The heart is not a machine. It's the memory of a civilization." Liam frowned. "Memory." Morgan turned to him, his eyes glowing faintly from the shard in his hand. "Yes," he said. "Every thought, every dream, every heartbeat of the first architects still echoes in the crystal. I can hear them." Clara took a step back. "You're losing yourself," she said. "That thing is controlling you." Morgan smiled faintly. "Or maybe it's freeing me." He turned toward the largest structure in the center of the city, a massive tower spiraling upward, surrounded by floating platforms. "The heart's core is inside that tower," he said. "When I merge the shards, the city will come alive again." Liam grabbed his arm. "You'll destroy everything above ground. You'll kill millions." Morgan stared at him coldly. If the old world must fall for the new one to rise, then so be it. He shoved Liam away and began walking toward the tower, the ground glowing beneath his steps. Clara rushed to Liam's side. "We have to stop him." Liam nodded, breathing hard. "We can't fight him head on. We need a plan." They ducked behind a row of ancient pillars, watching Morgan climb the staircase toward the tower. The air vibrated with energy, and the light around the city grew brighter. Clara whispered, "There's too much power here. If he connects his shard to the core, it could explode." Liam pulled the shard he carried from his pocket, the glow pulsing faster now. "It's reacting to his," he said. "If we get close enough, maybe we can use the resonance to overload it." Clara's eyes widened. "That's the risky plan." Liam gave a small grin. "It's the only one we've got." They began moving through the city. Keeping to the shadows, every step brought them closer to the tower. But the walls were alive, symbols pulsing, whispers echoing in their ears. It felt as if the city itself was watching them. At the base of the tower, Morgan stood before a massive crystal chamber. He raised his gauntlet and placed the shard into a hollow at the center. The entire city vibrated, and beams of light shot out from every tower. Clara shouted, "Liam, now!" Liam ran forward, holding his shard high. The two lights collided mid-air, creating a blinding flash. Morgan screamed as the power surged through him. The ground shook violently, cracks tearing through the floor. Clara fell to her knees, shielding her face from the light. Liam's body felt weightless, the energy pulling him upward. He saw visions of ancient beings, of cities made of light, of the heart being torn apart long ago. And then silence. When the light faded, the chamber was dark. Liam lay on the floor. His shard dim and cold, Morgan was gone. Clara crawled to him, shaking his shoulder. "Liam, are you okay?" He opened his eyes slowly, his voice weak. "I saw them, Clara, the first architects. They're not gone. They're waiting." She helped him stand. And together they looked up, at the top of the tower. A faint light still glowed, not gone, just dormant. Clara whispered, "If Morgan survived, he'll go for the rest of the shards." Liam nodded slowly. "Then we have to find them first." They turned toward the exit, the city rumbling softly behind them. The air was alive again, the whispers louder now. The heart had awakened, and the choice ahead would decide everything. The city beneath the desert was no longer silent. A low hum filled the air, growing louder with every heartbeat. Liam and Clara stood on the cracked floor of the ancient chamber. Around them, the glowing symbols on the walls were shifting like living veins. The city was waking. Clara clutched her satchel, her breathing quick. "The whole place is unstable," she said. "If the heart's energy spreads through the city, it could collapse everything above." Liam looked at the glowing tower ahead, its spiral lights flickering like lightning trapped in glass. "Morgan's not gone," he said quietly. "He's somewhere in here." A sound echoed from the far end of the chamber, metal scraping stone. Clara turned sharply. What was that? Out of the shadows, mechanical constructs emerged, tall, skeletal guardians made of gold and obsidian, their eyes burning with green fire. "They're ancient sentinels," Clara whispered. "The city's protectors." Liam stepped back. "Protectors of what?" Before she could answer, one sentinel raised its arm and unleashed a beam of light that scorched the floor beside them. Liam grabbed Clara's hand. "Run!" They sprinted down the hall as the sentinels came to life, their footsteps echoing like thunder. The corridors twisted and split into endless paths. Bridges hung in mid-air, suspended by nothing but glowing energy. Below them, rivers of green light flowed like molten glass. Everywhere they turned, the city pulsed with motion and sound. Elysium was alive, and it wanted something. They darted through a narrow passageway, the floor shifting beneath their feet. Clara stumbled, but Liam caught her arm, pulling her forward behind them. A sentinel fired again, the blast missing them by inches. Chunks of crystal rained down, exploding on impact. Liam shouted, "We need to lose them." Clara pointed ahead. "There." The old transport rail. They jumped onto a suspended track that curved around the city's towers. Ancient machines lined the rail, hoverpods that once carried the architects across the city. Liam smashed his fist against one control panel, and to his surprise, it flickered to life. The pod hummed and lifted off the ground just as the sentinels appeared behind them. "Go, go!" Clara yelled. The pod shot forward. Racing along the glowing track, wind tore through their hair. and the city's lights blurred around them. Behind them, several sentinels launched onto the rails. Chasing at terrifying speed, Liam gripped the controls tightly, steering hard as beams of light streaked past them. The pod swayed dangerously, almost tipping over the edge. Clara leaned out and threw a small metal disc behind them. It detonated in a flash, sending one sentinel crashing off the track. "Nice one," Liam said. "Remind me to never complain about your dangerous plans again," she replied with a shaky grin. They sped past massive towers shaped like crystals, each one humming with strange energy. Below them, they could see entire districts of the ancient city, gardens of glass, machines the size of mountains, and pools reflecting green skies. It was breathtaking and terrifying, Clara whispered. "This place wasn't just a city, Liam. It was a living organism," he nodded. "And we woke it up." A loud crack interrupted their thoughts. The rail ahead had collapsed. "Hold on," Liam shouted, pulling the controls hard. The pod flew off the track, soaring through the air. For a second, they were weightless, suspended over the endless drop. Then the pod crashed onto another platform, skidding across the surface and smashing into a column. Sparks flew, smoke rising from the engine. They tumbled out. Coughing and disoriented, Clara groaned. "Please tell me that was the safe route." Liam smirked weakly. "That was the safe route." But before they could laugh, a voice echoed through the chamber, deep, metallic, and cold. "You cannot stop what has begun." They turned to see Dr. Morgan standing on a balcony above, his eyes glowing with the same green fire as the sentinels. The shard embedded in his gauntlet pulsed with light. He looked half human, half machine, his veins glowing beneath his skin. "Morgan," Liam shouted. "You're destroying the city." Morgan raised his hand, and the air trembled. "I'm restoring it," he said. "Elysium will rise again, and I will be its guardian." Clara stepped forward. "You're being controlled," she said. "The city is using you." Morgan's smile was hollow. "No, Clara, I am chosen." The sentinels gathered behind him, forming ranks, their eyes locked on Liam and Clara. Liam whispered, "We can't fight that many." Clara nodded. "Then we outsmart them." She pulled out the broken compass, the same one that had guided them since the desert. It was glowing brighter than ever, pointing toward the tower's core. "The compass is reacting," she said. "There's still a way to shut it all down." Morgan heard her and laughed. "You can't stop destiny. The city chose me." "Not you," Liam shouted back. "Maybe it chose both of us." He grabbed Clara's hand and sprinted toward the core bridge. The sentinels followed, their steps shaking the floor. The chase thundered through the heart of Elysium, lights flickering and walls crumbling. The city groaned like a living thing in pain. As they reached the final bridge, the entire ceiling began to collapse. Rocks and crystal shards fell around them like rain. Clara slipped and Liam caught her. Pulling her back just in time, she looked up, tears in her eyes. "We can't make it across." He looked at the glowing compass, then at her. "We don't have to. We just have to make the choice." He pulled out his shard, the last piece of the heart, and held it close to the compass. The two began to resonate, humming louder and louder. The entire city's lights flickered in response. Morgan screamed from across the platform. "Don't you dare," Liam shouted. "You said this was about balance. Let's see what the heart really wants." The shards exploded with light. A shockwave ripped through the air, knocking everyone off their feet. The sentinels froze mid-motion, their eyes dimming. The towers flickered, the green glow fading, then for a single heartbeat. Everything was silent when the dust cleared. Clara opened her eyes. Liam was lying beside her, weak but alive. The city around them was dark, lifeless once more. Morgan was gone, swallowed by the light, Clara whispered. "Did we stop it?" Liam stared at the faintly glowing compass in her hand, its needle pointing upward. "Not yet," he said. "There's still one last step." He looked up toward the distant sky, visible through the cracks in the cavern roof. Somewhere above, the surface world waited, unaware of what was coming. Clara followed his gaze, her voice trembling. "Then what's next?" Liam stood, his face illuminated by the faint glow of the shard fragments. "Part 7, he said quietly. "The final choice." The air above the ruins shimmered with pale light. The explosion that shook Elysium had opened the desert like a scar. For the first time in thousands of years, sunlight reached the city beneath. Liam and Clara stood on the edge of the shattered platform, dust and ash swirling around them. Below, the once living city now lay silent, its towers dark, its rivers of light gone cold. But the silence felt temporary, like a storm waiting to return. Clara clutched the cracked compass in her hand, its glass broken, its glow fading. "We did it," she whispered. The city stopped. Liam shook his head slowly, his eyes scanning the ruins. "No," he said softly. "It's only sleeping." He held out the fragments of the shard, their faint glow pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. "They're still alive." A gust of wind swept over them, carrying with it a low hum from below. The sound wasn't mechanical, it was a whisper. Distant and haunting, it spoke in no language they knew. Yet it felt like meaning flowed through the sound itself. Clara shivered. "The city's talking to you." Liam nodded slowly. "No, it's talking to us. Far across the ruins." A faint figure began to move. Clara squinted, her breath catching. "It can't be." The figure stepped into the light. It was Dr. Morgan, his clothes torn, his face pale, but his eyes still glowing faintly green. He looked at them with a mix of exhaustion and awe. "I told you," he said weakly. "It doesn't destroy. It transforms." Liam stepped forward, anger and sadness in his voice. "You almost killed everyone to prove that." Morgan smiled faintly. "Maybe," he said. "But look around, even now it breathes. It waits for someone to finish what I started." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small fragment, one last shard of the heart. Clara gasped. "You still have one?" Morgan nodded. "The final key." Liam's instincts screamed at him to take it. But the whispering in the air grew louder, clearer. It wasn't calling for destruction, it was calling for choice. Two images flashed in his mind, one of the world above, whole and untouched, and one of Elysium reborn. Shining beneath the desert, he realized the truth. The heart didn't want domination. It wanted decision. Morgan took a step closer, his voice trembling. "Join me, Liam. Together we can rebuild this world. Merge the old and the new. Give humanity what it lost." Clara stepped between them, her tone sharp. "Or destroy everything again?" Morgan's expression softened. "Clara, don't you see this isn't about destruction? It's about evolution." She shook her head. "Evolution without humanity isn't progress." Liam stood frozen between them. In one hand, the glowing shards hummed softly. In the other, the compass still pointed upward, toward the surface. Two paths, two outcomes, two futures, safe or risky. Save the world as it was, or awaken something entirely new. The ground trembled again, cracks glowing green as energy began to pulse through the ruins. Elysium wasn't waiting any longer, it was demanding a choice. Clara grabbed Liam's arm. "If you join him, you'll never come back." Morgan extended his hand. "If you refuse, the city will sink forever. And all this knowledge will be lost." Liam looked between them. He saw Morgan's desperation, Clara's fear, and beyond both, the endless weight of history. He took a slow breath. "Maybe the choice isn't between you two," he said quietly. "Maybe it's between fear and faith." He stepped toward the center of the platform where the heart's fragments glowed together. They rose into the air, spinning and connecting, forming a sphere of brilliant light. Clara shouted, "Liam, don't!" But he didn't stop. He placed the compass on the ground beneath the floating sphere. The shard's light reflected off the compass glass, splitting into two beams, one pointing to the sky, one deep into the ruins. Liam closed his eyes. The heart doesn't want power, it wants balance. The ground exploded with light. A beam shot upward into the desert sky. Piercing the clouds, another shot downward. Lighting the ruins below, Morgan screamed, shielding his eyes. "What have you done?" Liam's voice echoed, calm and strong. "I made the choice the city couldn't." The energy flooded the chamber. Washing over everything, Clara fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as the light surrounded them. She saw visions, the architects of Elysium, human and alien forms working side by side, building a world of perfect harmony. Then she saw that same light spreading to the surface, reviving forests, healing the desert, restoring life. It was creation through choice, not control. When the light faded, Clara was lying on warm sand. The ruins were gone, buried once more. The desert stretched endlessly, quiet and golden under the morning sun. She sat up quickly. "Liam," she whispered. Looking around, there was no one there, only the faint glimmer of green light where the sand met the sky. She picked up something half buried nearby. The compass, now whole again, its needle spun once, then stopped, pointing north. She smiled softly, tears in her eyes. "You did it," she whispered. "You actually did it." The wind blew gently, carrying a soft hum that faded into the distance somewhere far beneath the earth. The city slept once more, peaceful and still. Clara looked toward the horizon. The world felt different now, brighter. Calmer alive, she took a deep breath, slung her satchel over her shoulder, and began walking toward the north. As she walked, she heard a voice in her mind. Faint but familiar, it was Liam's voice. "Every choice loops back, Clara. The end is never the end." She smiled through her tears. "Then I'll keep walking." The camera rose above her, showing the endless desert bathed in sunlight in the distance. A faint pattern glowed beneath the sand, the outline of the sleeping city, and for a brief second the heart pulsed again, as if waiting for the next seeker.